Hey, what's up guys? Nate here with Hustle Buddies, where we share tools, tips, and advice for Amazon sellers. In today's video, we're gonna break down some of the recent changes with Keepa and how that's affecting sellers. There's some good and there's some stuff that we will have to adjust to, but we wanted to break all of the new changes down so that everyone knows how to interpret the new data in the best possible way so that you can make the most money, all right? We'll see you there. Okay, so let's break down the four major shifts that Keepa is going through right now in regards to how they're tracking data and what data is being shown to you. So the first one I want to jump into is the Buybox. And I'll show you all of this on my screen as well here in just a second, but I just want to quickly give you a rundown. So the Buybox is now being tracked with a line. Instead of those little pink diamond shapes every once in a while, you now get a constant 24/7 view of where the Buybox is. So that's the first big shift. The second big shift is seeing who has the Buybox, and Keepa can actually now show you the percentage of Buybox ownership between all of the people who are eligible for the Buybox. This is really big, and I'm going to show you that again. Here in a second, you'll watch my screen. The next and third big change is how they are showing Amazon being in and out of stock. That has sort of shifted some. And the fourth big change, and this is more of a change as far as Amazon changed the data that they're giving. It's not so much on Keepa's end, it's just how Keepa's adjusting, but it is how the sales rank is being shown. They sort of had to shift with some of their items. It's now showing the subcategory instead of the main category. Like instead of saying clothing, it's now the subcategory of clothing, men's socks, for example. All right, so let's dive into that. I'm going to be sharing my screen here in a second, and you can follow along with me as I break down all of these changes and how you as a seller can interpret that data to make the most of the data, which then makes you the most money. All right. So let's jump into the first big change that Keepa and really Amazon has made to some of this data. So first, let's go into how the sales rank has changed for a number of items. So for this item, it's a pair of Nike socks. You can see that historically the sales rank is recorded. It hovers around 500 or so, and it goes up and down. But then about a week and a half ago, it seems to just disappear. And what happened is Amazon is no longer sending this data to Keepa for this particular item. Instead, they are sending Keepa only the subcategory ranking. So what Keepa did is they updated it. They now have a whole separate section down here. You can see that historically this was ranked 700 or whatever in sports and outdoors. But then it switched, and now it's ranked 10, 11, 7 in men's athletic, men's sports, and women's sports socks, okay? So it still has a sales rank, and the sales rank is still going up and down. In fact, if we zoom in to here, you can see, if you're looking at those green bars, here I'll just hide most of them except for one, you can still see this is still moving up and down. Even though it's moving up and down like the rank 5 to rank 6, it's still moving up and down, which still means it is selling. Obviously, it's a popular pair of Nike socks, okay? So the concept of how to look at a Keepa chart is still there. It's just going to look like either something doesn't have a sales rank, or some items might look like they have an astronomical sales rank, when really this isn't ranked number 7 or whatever in clothing. It's ranked number 7 in women's sports socks, which is still really, really good, but just not as good as being ranked number 7 in all of the entire clothing category. Okay, so that's the first big change. The second big change is actually, this is my favorite change, and this is something that Keepa is now doing. So they are now recording the percentage of Buybox ownership, which is a ridiculous feature. Okay, so I'm going to use this item as my example. I'm so sorry if this is one of your replens or something, it's just what I typed in. So we're going to jump into this. A lot of people will look at Keepa and they'll basically just stop here on the main homepage section of the item, and they'll base their decision off of that, and that's great. But if you want to do a little bit more research, you can actually click on this data tab, and this will bring up, it'll start here, but if you click on the Buybox statistics, this will bring up statistically how much each store who's selling this has the Buybox. So this is over just the past 11 days. You can set that to whatever you want. And I can see that EB Elite stores usually has the Buybox at 62%, but not always. And these other stores have had a couple sales as well. So even though this Milburn Sellers is selling it for $1 more, they still have the Buybox 33% of the time, which is fantastic. So yeah, this is a super powerful tool. You can sort of double check like if your items have the buy box, things like that, or where you can see if there's a ton of sellers on something, you can see sort of the buy box range as far as what Amazon is giving it to, and you can see the rotation. So super, super, super powerful. Yeah, and there's only a couple sellers in. I wish I could have seen this data a couple weeks ago when there was like 14, 15 sellers, but as time goes on, Keepa will continue to get more and more data. Right now, I can only see the data from the past like 10, 11 days because that's when Keepa started implementing all of these changes. But as more time goes on, we will just see more and more and more data, okay? So the next big point that I want to talk about is the changes to the buy box tracking. So historically, I'll turn these little things off. Historically, they really only recorded it every once in a while. They would record this little pink triangle up here. Okay. Now that changed again about 11 days ago. It is now a solid line. As long as someone is in the buy box, it is constantly being recorded. Instead of being recorded sporadically, they've been able to increase something in their software where they can pull it all the time. And you can see that data just constantly now. So as long as there is a pink solid line, you can see the buy box data, which is fantastic. On some other items, you'll see that go up and down. Now you will see it go in and out. So for example, let's go back to this. I can see there is a line up there for a little bit, but then maybe that item was suppressed. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. If your item gets suppressed, so let's click on Show on Amazon. There is no buy now button. When I'm looking at this item, I can't just add it to my cart. Normally it would say buy it now for $39 or whatever it is, but it's not. And so Keepa cannot pull data when there's not like a price right here front and center. If you have to go digging and go, oh, click through these sellers, look which one's selling it, you can get the data as a customer, but Keepa cannot automate that anymore. I don't think they ever could at that point. But yeah, so for what that's worth, the buy box tracking has changed. It's another thing that I really, really like. Okay. Lastly, I want to show how the Amazon in-stock rate and the buy box data has changed a little bit. So in the past, you would see this orange area, and that would signify that Amazon has the buy box and they're in stock. Okay. Now, just a couple days ago, I'm going to zoom in here. Just a couple days ago, they changed some things. Historically, if I had looked at this, this would have only told me that Amazon was out of stock. Now, this actually, the way that Keepa's data is working at this point, it's now Amazon could be out of stock, or they could just not have the buy box, and it could have gone to a third-party seller. So the data is a little bit trickier here, but I do want to reiterate that us as sellers, I have never a single time not purchased something because Amazon was on the listing. There's plenty of other reasons why I might not purchase something and Amazon is on the listing, but just the sole fact that Amazon sells something is not a deterring factor for me and my business. Lots of other people do it different ways, but that's personally for us what we do, and it works. So take that how you will. All right, so those are basically the 4 big changes that have gone on. So just to reiterate again, the sales rank changes, looking down here, the buy box percentage ownership, where we could see like the different sellers and how much of the buy box each of them got, the buy box tracking with the line, and then Amazon's in-stock rate / if they're just not in the buy box anymore. Okay, so those are the 4 huge changes to Keepa that make it very, very powerful. Yeah, hopefully that helps. All right, so that is our video about Keepa. Hopefully that helps illuminate some of the recent changes with Keepa and what the data is showing you. Now, I do want to reiterate that this is for the paid version of Keepa. There is a free version of Keepa, but it really doesn't hardly show you any useful data. So if you're watching this video and you don't have Keepa, get Keepa. If you can't afford Keepa, then turn off this video and stop watching videos about Keepa, okay? Because they all will talk about the paid version. All right, so with that out of the way, I do want to encourage you guys to head over to our Hustle Buddies Facebook group. That is facebook.com/groups/HustleBuddies. It's a fantastic mastermind of Amazon and really lots of other kinds of eBay and Mercari sellers that just get together and share ideas and advice. And it's a place to build each other up, and we wanted to foster a positive environment, and we feel very grateful that the group has become such a positive place that people can share information. All right, so head over there, make sure to check that out. If you have not yet liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up or subscribe to our channel. When you subscribe to the channel, you'll get updates about all of the other videos we put out and all the other tips and tricks and things like that that we show people. All right, as always, if you see me in stores, head over, say hi to me. I'm a friendly guy. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what you're buying. And if you have any other comments about Keepa, drop them in the comments below. All right, we'll see you there, guys.